disabled people came out in the rain, the pouring rain. There's so much outrage and distress in the disabled community over this, and how shocked we are that a proposal like this was brought through. It basically attempts to categorise disabled people into 3 tiers based solely on their capacity to work and nothing else. And we know that disability is much more complicated than that. It's demeaning to reduce a person and their disability and their impairments solely on their capacity to work and their productivity. That's dehumanising, and it goes against everything that we fought for.
How dare they scrutinise our bodies without first scrutinising the ableist and discriminatory environment of the society in which we are expected to live. A completely ableist green paper from a completely ableist government.
My name is Dada. I am a mental health activist. Many people are very concerned about the proposals. The government should recognise that disabled people, including chronic illnesses, have increased costs that mean that they require more than what is currently being offered by the state in Ireland. Until autistic children and people can have ease of access to assessments and for diagnosis and appropriate workplace training, leave disabled people alone. Until all international protection applicants are served a basic standard of living, leave disabled people alone. Until people with EDS have a specialist treatment and access to treatment in Ireland, leave disabled people alone. Other people don't need to set up GoFundMe pages for surgeries or have to fly out of the country for surgeries, leave disabled people alone.
I think that sort of says a lot too, doesn't it, that we have to leave the country. We're not living in Irish society. That's just plain and simple. We saw through COVID, we had to fight just to stay alive. The man who fought that one for us and on behalf of us, Senator Tom Cloonan.
Shame on our public representatives who have not come out here into the rain to at least see you and shake hands and just acknowledge this protest. This disability green paper is an absolute travesty. It is a blueprint for a Victorian, Dickensian, functionalist, ableist view of disabled citizens. They will have to medically examine 1,000 disabled citizens every week for 5 years. And we are people who can't get a medical appointment. We can't get physiotherapy. We have children with complex spinal needs who can't get surgery at the moment because the lists are suspended. We must resist it. It's a cut and paste of the Tory policy introduced as an austerity measure, which has led to a surge in suicide amongst disabled citizens. That's what they think of you, that's what they think of my son, that's what they think of us as a community. For as long as I'm in there, I'm going to shout from the rooftops about this, and we'll embarrass them. We'll show them up and they will drop this green paper.
Disabled people have additional costs, we know that. It's up to €12,000 a year. That's barely covered in the 10 grand that we have on DA. So to further stigmatise people for needing those supports, which is what's happening now, these are what we need to survive. These are basic supports that are being threatened and processes that are damaging and discriminatory, and which will just lead to much more harm than any problems that we solve.
We don't have a lot, but every now and then we have a say. And if you're not getting the representation that you need, that you deserve, the people who are pertaining to represent you don't deserve to be in there. I stood on the stage in 2020 for the Caucus of Disability. Politicians tried to admonish themselves from everything that had gone on. There was wonderful pontifications about what was going to happen. They were going to shower us in houses and money, and we were going to be living the lap of luxury. We're living in deeper poverty. The latest report, the only minority group in Irish society to see their poverty increase are the disabled caring community. We're nearly at 40%. It's outrageous with the wealth that's in this country. It's flowing in. They've got so much money they don't know what to do with. But yet, more of us in the disabled community are living in abject poverty.
Just here today after a fantastic demonstration around this Tory green paper that's been proposed, which is tiered payments for people with disabilities. Are you disabled enough for support? Horrendous Tory policy. A lot of people with disabilities getting a chance to have their voice heard, have their concerns heard. Great turnout, people for profit. That's what we do. Give the opportunity for people who are marginalised on the fringes a voice. We need to scrap the green paper.
My daughter is 13. In 5 years' time, she'll be a young, independent woman. She's already bolshy enough as it is. But she will look to me and say, "How did you fix this, Dad?" And I'll have to look her in the eye and say, "You know, I tried my best, but listen, they wouldn't listen to me." And she'll say, "Why not?" And I'd say, "I don't know," because they're so detached. They're so removed from our poverty, from our isolation, from our suffering, that they don't seem to care. But they care once every 5 years when they knock on your door and beg you for that number one. You remember who supported you. You remember who stood up and fought for you. When they go on and say, "We're going to make the change," that change doesn't happen. It's time to go. We need people that will make the change.
Spread the news. Hashtag scrap the green paper. Make sure every person in your life knows about this and knows how it affects us. Sign the petition. We have till March. Let's keep the momentum going.
We're all the way from Clare.
We're very, very sad that they have come to this. It's a total distraction, we feel, really. We wanted the whole thing scrapped. We're very clear about that, really. You know, we've galvanised a lot of people, so we're glad to be here with our comrades here. We've campaigned here since the early 90s, so we won't give up. We did always so we're going to here to stay. So we want change, and we want them to drop this bill. Thank you very much for this.
We have 2,600 signatures here from around Ireland. The petition is still ongoing. And there are people in here who are telling you what's going on and what they're frightened of and what they're fearful of. Please accept this on behalf of disabled people and try and do something to improve disabled people's lives. We are beginning to come to the end of our tether. We need action and proper living conditions.
In accepting this petition, I'm accepting it in the full knowledge of what it means. I will bring this to the Minister. We will bring this to the members of the Dáil. You make your case so eloquently, and it's down to the old saying, nothing about us without us. And we will work with you between now and March and beyond to ensure that you enjoy your full entitlements and rights.
I'm a carer to my daughter, but I'm also there to offer people with disabilities the ability to get their voices heard. We are equal and we deserve that equality. We deserve to be cared for, to be appreciated, and we deserve the respect that every other person gets.